In this lesson, we're going to learn about what are decimals and how to round decimals. So what is a decimal? Well, a decimal is another way of writing a fraction as a power of 10. So what do I mean by that? Well, in the lesson about fractions, we learned about, if we have a piece of pizza split into 10 ways, we have it as a fraction of 10. So say we eat one piece of the pizza, we have eaten 1/10 of the pizza. Well, as a fraction, we could write this as 0.1, which is equal to, like I said, 1/10. So it's just another way of writing a fractions, only in decimal for notation. So similarly, say we have, a giant water tank and it can hold 100 gallons and it only has 1 gallon in it. Well, this is known as 1/100th. Again, your 100 gallon tank is split into single gallons and you only have 1 gallon in there. It's only 1/100th full, and it can be written as a decimal in this form. Similarly, say you have, 1,000 head of cattle and one cow gets sick. Well, then we say that 1,000th of your herd is sick. Again, like I said, these decimals are just a way of writing a fraction only as a power of 10, and I'll explain what this 1/10th, 1/100th, 1,000th means right now. So we have what are called place values. You may be familiar with this concept, maybe not, I don't know, so we'll just explain it right now. And that is when we write a number, let's just say a single digit of each number can go into each one of these slots. So we identify in the middle, we have the decimal point, and that is this spot right here. So if we go to the right of the decimal point, this is what we're familiar with. We're familiar with numbers in the ones digit, in the ones column, in the tens column, in the hundreds column, the thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. These are working with whole numbers. This side of the decimal is what we've been working with forever. But now we're going to introduce the left side of the decimal, and the digit directly to the right, the right side of the decimal, the digit directly to the right is what's called the 10th place. And again, that's why we call it 1/10. If you go 2 spots, you have the 100th place. 3 spots is the 1,000th place, the 10,000th, and the 100,000th. So let's say we have, a number that looks like this. 642.03478. Okay, so say you have a number this large with this many decimals on it. So let's just go through and identify what digit is in each place value. So first off, we find where the decimal point is, So then we go, okay, we want to know what's in the ones place. Well, what's in the ones place is 2. What's in the tens place is 4. Hundreds is 6. 1,000th is 7. The 10,000th is 5. And the 100 is 1. So say we're just ignoring all the decimals, this number would be read as 157,642. But now let's go to the right of the decimal and talk about all the decimal place, or the place values to the right. Well, in the 10th digit we have a 0. In the 100th digit we have a 3. In the 1,000th we have a 4. In the 10,000th we have a 7. And the 100,000th we have an 8. So this could be, like I said, read as 157,642.03478. That's just how we read it. Or, it can be read as that's just how we read it. We'll say point for the decimal and then just read the rest of the digits straight off from there. So we may want to what's called round these numbers, because if you're given a number this large, we might not want to look at it. We might want to look at, rounding it to the nearest place digit just to make it easier to read and just say, okay, it's generally in that area. So say we have this number, 1,500,642.03,478. So say we have this number and we want to round it to a nearest place value. So let's say we want to round it to the nearest hundredth. To the nearest hundredth. So the way we do this is, first step is identify the hundredth digit. So if we're looking up here, we want to identify what number is sitting in the hundredth digit. Well, like I said, we find the decimal. If we go over, that's the 10th digits. This is the 100th digit, because, like I said, if we go back to our place values, we go 10th and 100th. So step 1 is identify the 100th digit, which is, in this case, the 3. Okay, so the next step is identify the number to the right of that digit. So in this case, the number to the right is the 4. Okay, so identify to the right. Step 3 is we have to identify, okay, is that number to the right greater than the number 5, or is that number to the right smaller than the number 5? Okay. If the number is greater than, if the number to the right, which is 4 in this case, is greater than the number 5, then what we do is we bump up the digit in the hundredths place. If it is less than the number 5, we leave the number in the hundredths place as is. So, with this example, because 4 is less than 5, we will leave 3 as is. So then, fourth step is just identify the answer. So, if we want to round this number to the nearest hundredth, it would be 157,642.03. And then we just leave the rest blank because, like I said, the idea of rounding is to cut the number down shorter. That way is easier to say, easier to identify, and it's still giving us the best estimate of what that original number actually was. So again, if we were trying to round it to the nearest hundredth, first thing you would do is identify the hundredth digit, then identify the digit to the right, which in this case is 4. If it is greater than 5, we bump the number up. If it is less than 5, we leave the number the same. 4 is less than 5, so we will leave this digit the same and write it out as is. Okay, so let's go through another example. Say we have number 18.379, and we want to round it to the nearest tenth. Okay, so first step, let's identify the 10th digit, which is right here. Second step is identify the digit to the right. Okay, this is 7 in this case. Third step, is 7 greater than 5 or less than 5? Well, it is greater than 5, so we're going to bump the number 3 up to the number 4, and then step 4 is just identify our answer, which would be 18.4. So again, we have our number. We want to identify what we're rounding it to. In this place, we're going to round it to the nearest tenth. We identify the digit in the 10th, or the number in the 10th digit. We identify the number to the right of that digit. If it is greater than 5, which 7 is greater than 5, we're going to bump the 10th digit up 1 to number 24. And last thing, we just round our answer. So 18.379 rounded to the nearest 10th is just simply 18.4. Nothing too difficult. Okay, I will give you guys an example here with a couple of problems in it. So we have the number 6.582. I want you guys to first round it to the nearest hundredth, and then round it to the nearest tenth. I'll let you work on that right now. Okay, let's go through this. So if we are rounding 6.582 to the nearest hundredth, well, let's identify what's in the hundredth place, which is 8, what's in the digit to the right of it, which is 2, which is less than 5, so we're going to leave 8 as the same. So 6.582 rounded to the nearest hundredth is simply 6.58. And then B, we're going to round it to the nearest tenth, 6.582. So first, identify what is in the 10th digit, which is 5. Next, identify what is in the digit to the right, which is 8. 8 is greater than 5, so we're going to bump the 10th digit up, so that's 6.6. So 6.582 rounded to the nearest tenth is 6.6.